Good morning, everybody. Alright, back again for another weekend here at the hangar. I'm the only one here today, but I got plenty of stuff I can work on. Now, one thing I did happen to notice walking around in one of the hangars, this. What an unusually long crate. I bet you that would hold an awful lot of snow skis. Now, in all seriousness, I think that's a crate. I think we might be getting rotors soon for the Huey. Our Huey is interesting. So there are a few companies out there that still make rotor blades for Hueys, and they make them for the stretched fuselage versions. I don't recall exactly which variant where they stretch the fuselage, but ours is an Echo model. This one actually saw combat in Vietnam. She served with the Marines, but so she's an Echo model, which means she had a shorter rotor system that goes along with the shorter fuselage. So she could hold the 2 pilots and 6 passengers in the back seat. So her engine wasn't as strong as the later Hueys, and like I said, the rotor system was different. For those of you that ever worked on these, this has the 540 or rotor system. It's very similar to what's on the AH-1 Cobra when they had the 2-blade versions of that. However, the Cobra blades won't fit on these because the rotor blades themselves on the Cobra were a lot wider than the ones on a Huey. So these are a lot harder to find. The few vendors that still make blades make them for, they make the longer rotors for the Hueys that have the stretched fuselage. So I'm not sure what's going on with this. However, it's really cool if we get some blades, because I would absolutely be thrilled to see this thing fly again. Now, in other news that ties in with DCS, so on this past Friday, every Friday, Eagle Dynamics puts out the newsletter, and the F-100, which is under development by Granelli Designs, was featured heavily in the newsletter, alongside with some in-development screenshots, which were renders from the 3D scans from when we hosted Granelli and his team down here a few weeks ago. That was really cool. So I'll leave a link to that if you guys are interested in checking that out. Also, one of the more prominent members of the DCS community, Enigma, who operates a very popular Cold War server featuring both early and late Cold War multiplayer scenarios, sat down with Granelli and did an interview, and this was brought up also about the F-100 development. I'll leave a link to that video. That was cool to sit and listen through and watch. So thanks for the shout out on that too, Joe. But yeah, go check that out if you like. It's really cool, because I'm looking forward to this. The more I've learned about it, that's going to be a cool one to fly around. Now, as far as our lovely Phantom here goes, what I'm going to do today is go through with the manuals. I'm going to find door 19 here on the side of the jet and open that up, and I'm going to check out that relay. I'm going to pull the DC bus tie, that fuse link, out of the Wizzo's cockpit and test that. And once I get through with those, I might put power to the jet and make sure that both transformer rectifiers, both the left and the right, are functioning properly. If they are, then I move on, because that DC power comes from the right hand TR, goes through the warning light controller, and then onto the AC power box that I've been showing last week. That is supposed to take over for the ground power transformer rectifier, and for some reason it's not. So that's what we're trying to troubleshoot and pin down. Why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Because if that right hand 28 volts does not take over for the ground power TR, that gets overloaded and it'll pop its fuse. Something that's been happening a little too regularly. So that's something we're trying to pin down. So let's get into this. Alright guys, here we are back in the Wizzo's cockpit, and I just pulled out the bomb release timer out of the instrument panel because that bus tie current limiter that I mentioned last week that was above the battery, the easiest way to get to it was to pull this out, and it is literally right about there, just behind the just inside the instrument panel there. So what that essentially is a very large 60 amp fuse that ties the left and right hand buses together, and that's an easy check without having to put power on it yet. Is just to pull that out and meter it and see what it looks like. So let's see if I can find a good spot to set the camera real quick. I'll try to get that out. Got it. Alright, let's see if I can get it in the light here. Well, it appears intact. Yep, 60 amp. You can see the element right there on the inside. It's definitely not burned. Alright, next step is to go hit this with the meter and see what it reads. I should have continuity across this if I put the meter on each end of it. Alright, let's go check this out. Alright, so I went and grabbed my meter. See if I can... No, that's not going to stay on its side. Anyway, so I got it on my continuity checker. So if this fuse is good, I got that little beeper turned on, so I should hear this. So I should hear that if I test this fuse. Alright, bus tie current limiter is good. Our problem lies elsewhere. Alright, I'm going to stick this back in where it belongs, and then we'll move on from here. Alright guys, so I just reinstalled the bus tie current limiter, that big 60 amp fuse, and it's a lot easier to get that thing out of its fuse bracket versus having to reinstall it. So I got that back in its home, and then reinstalled the bomb release timer, which still works, or as far as I can tell it still works. Alright, so we are going to go move on to the next thing to go look at. That was an easy check, but now we're going to move on. Let's see if we I have the 3 breakers pulled for the 3 different phases, so phase A, B, and C of the right hand transformer rectifier. If I put ground power on this and briefly energize it, I should get 28 volts on the utility receptacle up in the pilot's cockpit. Alright guys, here we are in the pilot's cockpit, and here's the setup I got. I got my handy dandy multimeter out, and here is the DC power utility receptacle, which with the 3 breakers pulled out on the circuit breaker panel in the back cockpit, the left hand bus should power this through the bus tie current limiter, or at least that's as far as what the checkout procedure shows. So you pull the breakers for the right hand, apply ground power, and apply external power, and I should get power here. I should see somewhere around 28 volts. If I don't see power, then we have a problem elsewhere, or that'll at least point us in another direction as far as where to start troubleshooting. All right, I'm gonna go warm up the NC8, and let's see what we can do here. Neutral. All right, we're good. Okay, that's weird. The NC8 just shut itself down. Huh. Let's go look at that. But I did get the 28 volts I was looking for briefly. Okay. The master switch just dropped off. I wonder if the little locking nubs are oh. It vibrated itself loose. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's take it out of power gen mode. Let's put the master switch back on. Probably we'll need to replace that, so that should lock in that position. It should not do what it just did, which is shut down on me. Oh, that worried me for a split second. All right, let's. Okay. Whew. All right. So it appears that the master switch just vibrated to the off position. Oh. And if you ever wondered what the master caution and warning tone sounds like on an FA-18 Hornet, that was it. I think that's my wife texting me. All right. Whew. All right. I thought this thing just ceased operating entirely of its own. I thought it just broke down. Okay. All right, for the next test, what I just did was I pulled the left-hand TR circuit breakers open, so now the left-hand TR will not operate, but I reset the breakers for the right-hand TR. So the way it goes through the aircraft, as soon as the right-hand TR receives power either from the engine generators or the ground power plug, it'll produce 28 volts, but it directly feeds the essential 28 volt bus. It does not feed directly to the right hand bus. What I'm looking for on this test is it's the same idea of what I just did with the left hand system, where I'm looking for 28 volts up in the DC utility receptacle up in the pilot's cockpit. Now, if I get power to the receptacle, then what that means is the right hand TR is producing power. It's feeding the essential 28 volt bus, and the essential 28 volt bus relay is feeding to the right hand bus like it's supposed to. Now, if I have 28 volts there, that means that whole pathway is good and my problem lies elsewhere. If I don't get 28 volts there, that means one of two possibilities. Either the right-hand TR went bad on us, the right-hand bus contactor is not working and not closing in to tie the essential with the right-hand bus, and that'll lead us that direction. Now, if I do get 28 volts there, then my problem lies elsewhere, and likely it's the warning light controller that the power passes through to feed back to pin E, the E pin voltage, or there's a little tiny diode that probably went bad and is not sending power where it needs to go. Let's see what we get. I'm gonna fire up the NC8 and I'll climb back up the ladder and let's see what we get. Stay this time. All right, neutral, AC power's off. Alright, so that was the result. I did not get 28 volts on the utility plug. So that's telling me that either the right-hand TR in the back cockpit, the right TR went bad, or up there, just behind the canopy, underneath door 19, is the essential 28 volt bus relay. That should close in and allow the right-hand TR only powers the essential 28 volt bus, but with that bus tie contactor, it will power the right-hand 28 volt bus. So now to narrow down two possibilities: a bad TR or a bad 28 volt bus relay. So now I got to crack open door 19. Yeah, get back here. On the happy side, at least this panel's hinged, so once I break them all loose, I should be able to pop it right open. Kind of hinged like the canopy is. Oh, hello, another one. All right, I'll go find a screw bag here before too long. Oh boy. All right, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Let me get this going for you. Haha, success. Alrighty. Alright guys, if you've never seen inside the what's behind the cockpits of a Phantom, oh, here you go. Looks like a APX 76 radio went here. It's a ballistics computer over there. I'm just reading off some of these labels in case it's not legible on the screen. Amplifier switch back there. A couple more radios back here. Let's see. I'm not sure. Alright, somewhere in here, this is door 19, is the DC power contactor. Now where are you? Probably gonna need my flashlight. No, no. Well, this is the relay panel. Yep, gonna need my flashlight. Alright, be back in a minute. Alright guys, I think I found the contactors, and they are on the left hand side of the aircraft. Down at the... They are down and towards the front left of underneath here, door 19. Pretty much behind the Wizzo seat, but this is the easiest way to access them. You can't go through the seat to get here. Alright, I'm likely going to dive into that next week with Crew Chief Al. Is more than likely to get to them, I'm going to have to pull a couple of the boxes out just behind it so I can get my arms down there, and also get my meter in there as well. Also, there, let me move forward slightly. Alright, where I got the light, that is where the right-hand transformer rectifier is, and it's standing vertically. The DC terminals are kind of set in a way that I can access them with my meter probes. However, I can't be in two places at once, so I'm going to have Crew Chief Al throw the external power switches, and then I can put my meter on there, and that'll definitively tell me if that transformer rectifier or TR went bad. Because if I get no power out of it, then it's I'm pretty sure the essential bus relay is more than likely good. So I'll hit that first next week before I dive into the panel in the back to hunt down that contactor relay. Alright guys, well, it's been a pretty productive day. Look forward to what we can knock out next week, and see what we got. So with that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.